Two living rooms, same size, same furniture budget, same paint on the walls. Side by side, one of them just feels designed, calmer, more expensive, more finished. You cannot quite name why. Here is the part most people never hear. The difference is almost never the sofa, or the rug, or how much money went into the room. It comes down to 9 specific details. Details most builders skip because they are not the flashy parts of a house. They are the quiet parts. The parts your eye does not consciously notice, but your brain absolutely does. And here is the encouraging truth, especially for anyone who has been in their home for years and loves it. Every one of these 9 exists in ordinary homes, added long after the house was built. None of them requires a renovation. We are going to move through them the way a designer would, starting with the things people touch every day, then the details that change the scale of a room, then the invisible ones that quietly whisper luxury. Let's begin.
Feature 1. Decorative switches and wall plates. The very first thing anyone physically touches when they enter a room is not the furniture. It is the light switch. The wall before, a plain plastic toggle in that slightly yellowed builder white with a plastic plate that flexes a little under a fingertip. The wall after, a solid metal plate in aged brass or matte black with a switch that moves with a soft, satisfying click. Nothing else in the room changed, but the room reads differently because beautiful homes get the touch points right. Designers call this tactile luxury. Our hands learn the quality of a house before our eyes do, and that switch gets touched every single morning and every single night, 365 days a year. What separates the designer version from the builder version is simple: solid metal plates instead of metal look plastic, unlacquered brass, which ages into a warm patina over time, matte black, which disappears elegantly against deeper wall colors. And in the most considered homes, toggle or push-button style switches, the kind that bring back the satisfying mechanical feel older houses had, now made in modern safety-rated versions. There is an honest distinction here worth knowing. The decorative plate is the simple part of this detail. The switch behind it involves the home's wiring, which is exactly why designers typically bring in an electrician to handle an entire house in a single visit. The switches now feel like jewelry for the walls, but there is a second set of metal touch points in every house that almost everyone forgets, and it quietly undoes all that coordination. Feature 2. Coordinated window hardware. Here is a pattern that shows up in home after home. The doorknobs get updated, the cabinet pulls get updated, and nobody ever thinks about the windows. The result is familiar. Beautiful brass door hardware throughout the hallway, and then a shiny silver crank and latch on every window, straight from the factory. In a truly finished home, every window lock and handle wears the same finish as the doors, so the eye glides around the room without a single interruption. This is what designers mean when they talk about a unified metal story. The windows are part of that story. They are just the chapter everyone skips. And because window hardware sits right at eye level, framed by daylight, a mismatch there is actually more visible than a doorknob down at hand height. The detail is smaller than it sounds. Window latches and cranks are simple pieces of hardware, made in every standard finish, and specialty suppliers carry matching parts for homes going back a century. For those wonderful older houses, the kind found all over Pennsylvania and Ohio, the original window hardware, gently polished, is often prettier than anything new. In homes like those, the most beautiful choice is usually restoration, not replacement. Quick question while we are here, because I genuinely want to know, what is the main metal finish in your home right now? Brass, black, nickel, or a little bit of everything? Tell me in the comments. There are no wrong answers. But I have a feeling a little bit of everything is going to win. The metals now tell one story from the front door to the last window, but everything so far is small. The next detail changes the actual scale of a room, and it starts down at the ankles. Feature 3. Large format baseboards. Here is a secret hiding in almost every home you have ever admired, and it lives down where the wall meets the floor. The before. A thin strip of baseboard about 2 inches tall, running along the floor like an afterthought. The after. A substantial baseboard 6 inches or taller, painted crisply, grounding every wall like the base of a column. That is the entire trick. Tall baseboards give a room visual weight. They make walls feel taller, ceilings feel higher, and the whole house feel more established, more like the gracious older homes people fall in love with. Builders shrank baseboards over the decades for one reason only: cost, which means a generous baseboard quietly signals that someone cared enough not to cut that corner. And there is a designer secret behind many of those impressive baseboards. They are not always one tall piece of wood. In countless homes, the original baseboard stays right where it is. A slim strip of trim runs a few inches above it, and the wall section between the two is painted to match. From across the room, it reads as one tall, custom baseboard, an illusion of proportion that costs a fraction of the real thing. Designers have leaned on that trick for decades. If you are finding this useful, tap that subscribe button. There are 6 details left, and the last 2 are the ones that actually change the entire atmosphere of a home. The rooms now sit on a proper foundation, but raising the bottom of the walls exposes the next opportunity, waiting at the top of every doorway. Feature 4: Visually elevated doors. In every hallway, there is an empty stretch of wall between the top of each door frame and the ceiling. That gap is where ordinary homes stop, and beautiful homes keep going. A typical doorway is a standard door, a standard frame, and a blank band of drywall floating above it. The elevated version carries trim from the top of the frame toward the ceiling, a simple transom-style panel, or a deeper header of stacked molding. So the doorway reads as one tall, elegant opening. The door itself never moved, but the eye travels up now, and the entire wall feels taller. This is pure proportion, the same reason floor-to-ceiling curtains make windows feel grand. Height is not something a homeowner buys, it is something the design suggests. And among everything on this list, this is one of the least expensive transformations there is, because it is essentially paint and flat trim. When that new trim wears the same color as the door and frame, it looks original to the house, as if it was always meant to be there. The doorways now draw the eye upward, and that sets up the next feature perfectly, because once the eye is moving up the walls, it needs somewhere beautiful to land. Feature 5: Symmetry with sconces. There is a reason the rooms in magazines feel so calm, and it usually comes down to one quiet principle: symmetry. A fireplace wall. Before, a nice mantle, some decor, a single lamp off to one side. After, a matching pair of wall sconces framing the mantle, one on each side, glowing at eye level. Instantly, the wall has order, a focal point, a little ceremony. Pairs of sconces work their magic in the same places every time, flanking a fireplace, a bed, a large mirror, a piece of art, or a hallway console. The brain reads a matched pair as intention, as proof that someone composed the wall rather than just filled it. Now, the objection this feature always raises. That means opening up walls to run wiring. It used to, not anymore. Battery-operated and rechargeable sconces have become genuinely good. Real metal fixtures, warm dimmable light, no cords, no electrician, hanging on the wall as simply as a picture frame. For anyone facing those long gray Michigan winters, a pair of warm sconces glowing at 4 in the afternoon does more for a room than any overhead light ever could. One principle matters more than the fixture itself: warm light. The boxes say warm white, and the cool blue-toned alternative undoes everything this list is building. The walls now have composed, glowing focal points. But the next 3 features work in the opposite direction. They are the details nobody is supposed to notice at all, starting with the ugliest thing hiding in plain sight in the ceiling. Feature 6: Designer vent covers. Here is a detail so overlooked that most people have never once thought about it, and once seen, it cannot be unseen. Air vents. In most homes, they are stamped metal or plastic grills. Industrial looking. Painted that not quite white that matches nothing. In a room where every other detail is considered, they sit there like little pieces of office building. In a beautiful home, the vent covers carry a clean, elegant pattern, finished to match the surface they sit in, all but disappearing into the wall or ceiling. This is a true insider detail. High-end designers routinely replace every vent cover in a project, because the HVAC system is the one utilitarian thing that appears in every single room of a house. Change the covers, and the entire home takes a step up at once. There are decorative grills in classic patterns, simple modern linear designs, and paintable versions that vanish completely into the wall color. And if insider details like this one are exactly why you are here, a quick tap on that like button tells me to keep digging this deep. For everyone in the hot half of the country, Florida, Texas, Arizona, where the air conditioning runs most of the year and there is a vent in every ceiling, this single detail touches literally every room of the house. The vents have vanished into the design, but there is one more industrial detail underfoot, interrupting the home every few steps, and most people assume they are stuck with it. Feature 7. Flush floor transitions. Between most hallways and kitchens, there it is, a metal strip, a little aluminum speed bump between the two floors. In most houses, every doorway is marked by one of those shiny transition strips, chopping the home into separate boxes of flooring. In a beautiful home, the floor flows from room to room at one level, one continuous surface, no interruptions. That continuity is one of the strongest luxury signals a home can send, precisely because nobody consciously notices it. The eye just keeps moving, and the whole house feels larger, calmer, and more custom. Those metal strips exist because they are the fastest, cheapest way to end one floor and start another. Beautiful homes take the time to align floor heights so the strips are simply not needed. The honest version of this feature, it is the one on this list that is born during a flooring project, not after. Homes that have it planned for it, the flooring installer aligned the heights before the first plank went down, which takes a little more prep and pays off for decades. And in homes where the floors are staying put, there is still a beautiful middle ground. Low-profile wood transition pieces, stained to match the floor, which read far more elegant than aluminum. There is a comfort dividend too. One smooth level floor means fewer small edges for a toe to catch, and that matters in a home meant to be enjoyed for decades. The floors now flow like one continuous surface. Time for the finale, the two features that stop being about details and start being about atmosphere. Feature 8. Integrated joinery. Lighting. There is a moment in every truly beautiful home, right around dusk, when the overhead lights are off and the house seems to glow from within the furniture itself. That is not an accident. That is joinery lighting. A bookshelf without it is a nice bookcase against the wall, flat and dim in the evening, lit only from the ceiling. The same bookcase with it has a soft ribbon of warm light washing down each shelf from inside, every object gently highlighted, the whole piece glowing like something from a boutique hotel. The effect is remarkable. Lighting placed inside shelving, cabinets, or built-ins makes furniture read as architecture. The bookcase stops being a thing someone bought and becomes part of the house. And this is another feature that used to belong to custom millwork budgets and now belongs to everyone. Modern LED strip lights are slim, dimmable, and often rechargeable, designed to sit hidden along the front edge of a shelf. So what shows is the glow, never the strip. The same principle as the sconces applies here. Warm white, always. Cool light turns a library into a laboratory. Even one glowing bookcase or cabinet changes what evenings feel like in a living room. Layered, low, warm light is the single fastest way a home moves from bright to inviting. Which brings us to number 9. The furniture is glowing, the details are unified, and there is exactly one surface left in the house this list has not touched, the one hanging overhead right now. Feature 9. The fifth wall. Color drenching the ceiling. Every room ever built has 5 walls. We just agreed to ignore one of them. For generations, the rule was automatic. Ceilings are white, full stop. And here is what that rule actually does. 4 walls wear a color someone loves, and then a bright white lid sits on top, drawing a hard line around the room and reminding the eye exactly where the space ends. The boldest move on this list erases that line. The ceiling painted the same color as the walls. Designers call it color drenching. The corners soften. The hard edge where wall meets ceiling melts away. The room stops reading as a box and starts reading as an atmosphere. The whole space wraps around like the inside of a jewel box. It works most beautifully in the rooms meant for coziness. Bedrooms, dens, dining rooms, a study. Deep greens, warm terracottas, soft blues, moody navy blues, colors with a little depth give the richest effect. And for walls in a warm white or cream, the same principle holds. Even white on white in the same exact shade removes that hard boundary line and calms the room. In a place like the San Francisco Bay Area, where soft gray light comes through the windows most mornings. A drenched room turns that moodiness into an asset instead of fighting it. It takes courage the first time, which is why designers so often start clients in the smallest room they love, a powder room, a reading nook. One small space is all it takes to understand why this is how beautiful homes get finished, not with one more object, but with the fifth wall. Before anything else, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or your state in the comments. The 9 features. Beautiful homes always seem to share metal switch plates and coordinated window hardware, so every touch point tells one story. Tall baseboards and elevated doorways, so the rooms carry real height and weight. Paired sconces for calm, composed walls. Vents that disappear and floors that flow, so nothing industrial interrupts the design. Warm light glowing from inside the furniture. And finally, that fifth wall, the bravest, most transforming move of all. Notice what none of these required: a bigger house, a renovation, or a designer's budget. Just attention, pointed at the details builders skip. And here is why this list will still matter years from now. These 9 details work whether a home is minimal, traditional, or somewhere comfortably in between. Trends change every season. Proportion, unified metals, and warm light do not. So tell me in the comments, out of these 9, which one are you fixing first? And be honest with me, how many of you are going to walk over and stare at your light switch the second this video ends? And if today had you looking around your rooms with fresh eyes, you are going to love what I put together on the small, inexpensive objects, most of them under $50, that quietly do the same designer work as everything we covered today. It is the video on your screen right now. I will see you there.